you hear a noise in the darkness. But you're home alone, or so you thought. Tonight, the shadows hide more than just your fear. Are you ready to see what's lurking when no one's watching? Subscribe and like and share. Now let's start today's story.
Being alone in the house was something I had always thought would be manageable. I'd heard the stories about our old Victorian home on the edge of town, the one everyone seemed to whisper about, but I'd always brushed them aside as nothing more than local legends. With my parents out of town, I found myself stuck in this creaky, aging house all by myself. The night was clear, the sky sprinkled with countless stars. My friends had made light-hearted jokes about me being scared, but I wasn't worried. I had lived here my entire life, and nothing truly odd had ever happened, nothing I couldn't rationalize anyway. Around midnight, I was lying in bed, scrolling through my phone, trying to shake off the weird feeling I had since my parents left. It was a strange unease, like the house was just a little too quiet. I laughed at myself, telling myself to stop being paranoid, but then I heard a soft, almost imperceptible whisper coming from somewhere inside the house. At first, I thought it was the wind, but the sound was too distinct, too deliberate. It was like someone was speaking in a low, hushed tone, just on the edge of hearing. I paused my music and sat up, listening intently, but the whispering stopped. I shook my head, convincing myself I was just hearing things. I went back to my phone, trying to focus on anything that would take my mind off the weirdness. But then it happened again, this time louder, like it was coming from just outside my room. My heart started racing. I could feel the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I knew this house made weird noises, but this was different. This was deliberate. I slowly got out of bed, trying to keep my footsteps quiet as I moved toward the door. I opened it just a crack and peeked out into the dark hallway. The house was completely still, just the way it should be. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding, feeling stupid for being so jumpy. But as I turned back toward my bed, I heard it again, clearer this time. My name, whispered as if someone was standing right behind me. Jake. I spun around, heart pounding in my chest, but there was nothing there. Just the empty hallway stretching out into darkness. My breath came in short, panicked bursts as I tried to make sense of what was happening. I told myself it had to be my mind playing tricks on me. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. I wasn't alone. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. Slowly, I stepped out into the hallway, moving toward the source of the sound. The whispering grew louder as I made my way down the stairs. But this time, it wasn't coming from the living room. It was coming from the basement. The basement was always the creepiest part of the house, a place I avoided as much as possible. But now, the whispering was calling me there, and despite every instinct telling me to turn back, I couldn't stop myself. The darkness down there was different, thicker, almost alive, pressing in on me from all sides. But then I saw it, I froze. Standing in the middle of the basement, illuminated by the faint light filtering down from above, was a woman. Her long, dark hair hanging limply down her back. She was wearing a tattered white dress, the fabric stained and frayed at the edges. I wanted to run, to bolt back up the stairs, but I was rooted to the spot, unable to tear my eyes away from the figure in front of me. Her face was pale, almost translucent, with hollow, black eyes that seemed to bore into my soul. Her mouth was twisted into a ghastly smile, and as she looked at me, I could feel the temperature drop even further. I knew in that moment that she wasn't alive. She was something else, something far worse. I finally broke free from my paralysis, my instincts kicking in as I turned and fled up the stairs. My heart hammered in my chest as I stumbled, nearly falling in my haste. I could feel her presence behind me, could almost hear her soft footsteps as she followed me. I reached the top of the stairs and slammed the door shut, locking it with trembling hands. I didn't go back down. Instead, I bolted to my bedroom, locking that door as well, and sat on my bed, my heart still racing. I tried to tell myself it wasn't real, that I hadn't just seen a ghost in my own home. But I knew the truth, I wasn't alone in the house. When my parents returned later that night, I chose not to say a word. I didn't mention the strange whispering, the sudden cold, or the unsettling figure of the woman I had seen in the basement. Nor did I tell them about the overwhelming sense that something was still down there, silently watching me, even as we spoke. I lay in bed, staring up at the ceiling, trying to convince myself that it had all been a bad dream. Yet deep down, I knew the truth, it hadn't been a dream. And I knew with absolute certainty that I would never set foot in that basement again.